This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined here today at McGuigan's gym by the former heavyweight champion of the world, Hasim Rahman. How are you, Hasim?
I'm great. Happy to be here.
That's great. So you're here with Bakole-Hunter. Pleasant surprise for me to see you down here today. Can you just explain to us what you do, what your role is in the team with Team Hunter?
Well, Team Hunter, like Mike is more like my nephew. He's more like family. Our family's super tight. Mike get ready to come over here to win his title. So he asked me would I come in the system, and I'm here.
Talk to our viewers who maybe aren't as familiar with Bakole-Hunter, the fighter, as I know that you are. And what does Bakole-Hunter possess? What kind of fighter are we looking to see on Saturday night at York Hall?
Well, my call, you looking at a guy with a boxer puncher. This guy made 2 Olympic teams for America. All the heavyweights you see out of America that's coming up, he didn't beat them all. I think he's the best kept secret in boxing, in heavyweight boxing. And he's come over to England, and he's going to stop Bakole. The only way that he don't leave with that IBO belt is if it's a flat-out robbery.
What do you know about Martin Bakole? He's somebody who is unbeaten on these shores. General consensus around here is that he's quite an avoided fighter. Have you seen much of him?
I mean, he doesn't have much. His whole resume, all his 11 fights, is really not much. I mean, I personally believe Mike fought tougher amateur fights, but he's big and he's strong. So, you know, anytime you got a big, strong heavyweight, you got something to watch out for. But I just think Mike's skill set is way too advanced for Bakole.
Now, you're somebody who campaigned at heavyweight throughout your career. You shared the ring with some of the greatest heavyweights of your era, or indeed any era. Michael started, or not started, but he challenged for a cruiserweight title. He's now coming up to heavyweight. How much of a factor do you think that is against somebody like Martin Bakole, who's been a career heavyweight?
Mike Hunter's been a career heavyweight also. He dropped down to cruiserweight. Mike made the super heavyweight Olympic team for America. He's been in there with every heavyweight in the world. You know, he's a heavyweight. He's been a heavyweight. The mistake is, you know, because he dropped down to cruiserweight, where he didn't belong. Then people judging him on that. He's a heavyweight.
What do you think Bakole-Hunter's keys to victory are against Martin Bakole? Is it going to be using that speed coming up, or is it going to be something else? What are we going to see from him?
I think it's I definitely think it's going to be speed, elusiveness, and deceptive power. Mike is a strong guy. He's a heavyweight. So if you're looking at him thinking he's a cruiserweight coming up, you're sadly mistaken.
Now, I wouldn't forgive myself if I didn't bend your ear on your career, or indeed get your opinion on the modern-day heavyweights. You're somebody who boxed. I mean, we all saw your fights with Lennox Lewis, David Too. I mean, you fought. I could go on and on and on. What do you make of the current heavyweight scene? Bakole-Hunter aside, what about the rest of the fighters? So your Joshuas, your Furies, etc. Deontay Wilder, your countrymen.
Well, I think it's a few guys at the top, at the elite. They're very good. I think they can compete in any era. And then I just think it's a drop off. I just don't see a whole lot of serious challenges. It's a couple. It's a few out there, but I just think that that the best got to fight the best. You know, let's see Wilder and Joshua.
And you say let's see Wilder and Joshua. Wilder has to come through Tyson Fury first. They're fighting December the 1st in LA. How do you see that fight going?
Well, I think Wilder will come through Tyson Fury. I think the layoff that Fury had, I think he's going to regret that in this fight. I believe if he didn't have the layoff, it might be a different result. But I just think you can't take 2 years off and come right back and have two little semi-tune-up fights and think you're ready for the best. I think he's going to regret fighting Wilder, and I think it's going to be a 9th, 10th round stoppage.
Now, you're somebody, as I mentioned, and I will keep mentioning in this interview because it is important, you've been in with pretty much a who's who of heavyweights. How would you assess the modern day crop compared to the 90s era that you grew up in? How do you think these guys would have fared in that era that you boxed in?
Well, I'm extremely biased, but I just think, we had a lot of good guys. We had a lot of guys that could fight. So if I'm looking at it pound for pound, I think our heavyweight era was significantly deeper and better than these guys right now.
Who was the best that you ever faced in the ring?
I mean, Lennox Lewis. I mean, he's one of the greatest heavyweight fighters ever in any era. I mean, the man beat everybody he faced. He been to 2 Olympic Games, 1 gold medal. I mean, it's really, his career speaks for itself. I mean, you can make him. He's an all-time great heavyweight.
Now, you mentioned that he beat everybody he faced. He did need a rematch to beat 1 or 2 fellas. You were one of them. Tell us a little bit about the night you won the World Heavyweight title.
Well, I was extremely prepared for the fight. I got to South Africa a month early. I was ready. The climate didn't bother me. I was just ready to win the heavyweight championship of the world. I was prepared. And it ain't really matter what Lennox was bringing that night. I was ready. So it happened how it happened.
The right hand that you caught him with, was that something that you'd worked on? Was that the way that you knew the fight would go?
It was one of the ways. Obviously, I had more than one game plan and more than one way, depending on where he was going to dictate what I was going to try to do. And that was definitely one of the get him on the ropes, dip, make a move, and then launch the right hand. So it kind of happened, that was one of the scenarios that I envisioned happening, that we worked on over and over and over, and it just played out exactly that way. But that wasn't, the only finisher that we had. We had a few different game plans for finishing him, and it just happened to be that one.
What was different about the rematch? You mentioned the first fight, you got over to South Africa early, you were very much prepared. The second fight is obviously known for the stoppage, for the knockout loss. What was different going around the second time with Lennox Lewis as opposed to the first time?
The difference was I just knew that whenever I hit Lennox, he going to sleep. We got into a scuffle on ESPN studio, and I felt like I manhandled Lennox. I felt his strength, and I felt me overpower him. So I just kind of like, I just felt like no matter what he does, as soon as I hit him, he going to sleep. I just ain't get a chance to hit him.
Nicely put. You mentioned that scuffle. That's one of the most infamous scuffles in heavyweight boxing history. Do you have any contact with Lennox now? Is there a thawing? Are you on better terms now?
Yeah, we're on better terms. We've been in each other's presence a number of times. We speak. We cordial. I even called up Lennox a time or two. So it's nothing. The fight is over. Good luck to him and all his endeavors. I have nothing against him. He's in America all the time. We run into each other. So it's done.
Was there never any part of you that wanted that rubber match?
Yeah, so I still want it. I still want it, but it is what it is.
Is there anybody, you boxed pretty much everybody, but there are a couple of names that you didn't box. Do you regret not fighting them? And if so, who was it that you wish you'd boxed in that kind of glamour era?
Well, the only regret that I have is not fighting Mike Tyson. I just feel like no matter what anybody else did, Mike Tyson is the name that just stares out, that just stands out over everybody. So I would have loved to mix it up with Mike Tyson.
Why didn't that fight happen? It seemed like you fought everybody else, but not Mike Tyson. Why was that?
Well, I mean, I was trying to fight Mike. It was a time when I won the title that I was looking to fight Mike, but I signed with Don King, and I don't know if that was the Mike was on his favorites list at the time. So, you know, for whatever reason it didn't happen. Maybe it was going to happen later on down the line. If I would have beat Lennox in the rematch, Tyson was definitely next.
How would that fight have gone?
Well, for me, I feel like shorter guys, they ain't have a prayer. I envision it like more like me fighting David Tua. You know, my jab would have been just controlled the fight, and then Mike, I think he would have probably got frustrated, and I think I would have stopped him.
Now, much is made about Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson, kind of like the time scale of when that happened, the timeline of the fight. The fight was what it was. It was at the end of Mike Tyson's career. Lennox was very much on top. Do you think the result could have been different, would have been different if they'd have met at a different period of their careers?
No, I don't.
Why?
Well, to my knowledge, I believe they sparred as youngsters. I believe Lennox got the best of him then. I just believe Lennox got the tools that no matter what Mike would have did, it wouldn't have helped him. Lennox jab is powerful, and Mike would have had to get past that. I just don't see how he would have got past it.
Now, you just mentioned David Tua. What I like to compare in sort of different eras of heavyweights is how like the fringe guys would have gotten. So your David Tuas, your Razor Ruddocks, and etc. How do you think David Tua would have got on in the modern day era?
I think you know, this modern day era is kind of different. They got so many heavyweight titles. They got regular titles. I definitely think David would have been a champion. I think he one of the best boxers never to become a heavyweight champion. So I definitely think he would have been heavyweight champion in this era.
Okay, and just finally on your own career, you shared the ring with my favourite all-time fighter, James Toney. Tell me a little bit about what it was like to share the ring with James Toney.
I really don't have anything nice to say about James Toney. You know, I felt like I beat him. They gave me a draw. You know, James Toney's just not a nice guy to me. I don't like him. I still don't like him to this day. I would love to fight him again, right now. And so, and I'm not sure that if and when we bump into each other, it's not going to go down. So, I don't have nothing else to say about it.
Well, I knew that you weren't on the best of terms, so forgive me for asking that question. Just finally, you mentioned it earlier, Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. That's a fight that's been has been building and building and building. There's a lot of this back and forward in the media. First of all, do you think that fight will happen?
Yes, I think it will happen.
And who do you favour going into that fight?
I just think both of those guys are tremendous athletes. I think if they fought 3 times, it'd be a different winner every time.
How would Hasim Rahman got on against Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on how they would go about fighting. If they try to, you know, bang, I like my chances. But if they fought a fight where they're using their height and they reach, I mean, they would obviously probably win, you know, a decision. I think if they stayed away and used their height, they'd be successful. You know, I mean, it's just tremendous difference in height and reach. So depending on how they was advised, if they was advised properly, they should win.
Okay. Well, just before I go, first of all, I appreciate you not punching me when I said James Toney is my favourite fighter. So thanks very much for that. Who's your favourite fighter, Hasim?
I would have to say Sugar Ray Leonard. You know, Sugar Ray Leonard is a Maryland guy where I was born. Gold medalist, multi-weight champion. I mean, he was a boxer that got plenty of endorsements while he was fighting. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sugar Ray. That's my guy.
Okay, well, Hasim Rahman, former heavyweight champion of the world, thank you very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Look forward to catching up with you soon. If not before, I'll see you Saturday night when Bakole-Hunter takes on Martin Bakole at your court.
In the victory lane.
No comment.
In the victory lane.
Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.
No problem.
Thank you very much.